So after spending about 130 days at home, it appears students of tertiary institutions will have to wait even more at home as the strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Lingered. On Wednesday, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, gave hope to many Nigerians when he said the ongoing ASUU strike was at its end, with another meeting scheduled for yesterday, Thursday, between the federal government's negotiating team and members of ASUU. But in a reaction to that position by the federal government, the union, via its official Twitter handle, denied receiving any official invitation from the federal government for the earlier announced meeting with the government team aimed at resolving the areas of disagreements and calling off of the strike. So joining us to throw more light on these developments between the union and the federal government is the president of the university lecturers body, that's ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke. Welcome to TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Prof, can you even tell us whether you guys are still meeting, ASUU and the federal government? And what is the state of your relationship now?
Thank you very much. We were never invited to any meeting. We were even surprised seeing that minister yesterday going to comment on our issues. We never invited us to any meeting. So that is that on this issue, because if you recall some time ago, when he was pursuing his political this thing, he asked us to go back to our minister, who's our employer. And we went there and we are making progress. Naturally has come in to misinform the public that he invited for a meeting and there's no meeting. This is why this strike has lingered. And we do hope that he will leave us alone with our minister. When you get to a turn to come to him, we'll come to him. And two, we have met with the NIMI Breeze Committee a number of times, and we have finished renegotiation. And they agreed that they were going to take the document to their principal, which is the president, which is the minister and the president, and then come back to us for signing. We also agree, we also bring back to our members. We don't have problem with that. Any day they invite us, we'll be willing to come to sign the document. So that is where we are now. We have finished everything about negotiation with that NIMI Breeze, Professor NIMI Breeze Committee, and we are waiting for them. As we also did, you remember, in May 2021, and it took them 1 year to come back. So that Nigeria know where the delays are coming from.
You didn't answer the question, sorry. What is the state of your relationship with the federal government? How will you assess it now?
Well, for us, only the problem we have is that when we finish any issues, they don't do what they are supposed to do. This issue of trust. Like I said when I was presenting that, in 2001, we reached an agreement with the Professor Muzali Jubri Committee, beautifully. And they said, let's give us time, let us go back, get their principal permission to come and sign, or if their issue raised. And it took more than 1 year to come back. So we have done exactly the same thing. And we even were afraid that before now they would have come back to us, that because of the urgency and the fact that these children are at home, these students are at home, because of the urgency, you should have taken more than 1 day to look at that document and say, go and sign. Or if there are still issue, you raise the issue. But that is where we are having problem. They don't take the issue of education serious. They don't take the issue of these students being at home serious. This, what we have to, we declare a 4-week warning strike in February. And if we're in a serious system, should you wait for 4 weeks to resolve these minor issues? Look at the issues and tell us what you can do. But that 4 weeks elapsed, nothing happened. They didn't even invite us to any meeting. We extended it by 8 weeks. The 8 weeks elapsed. They didn't invite us to any meeting. Now we have extended by 16 weeks. We're almost half of that 16 weeks, and still this up and down, no visible solution. Nobody is serious about it. Nobody taking it as if these men and young ladies who are at home matters, and I think it's unfortunate.
Right, so, well, Prof, there are indeed a number of issues on ground, but let's stay with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, who just on Wednesday as well expressed optimism. He also said that this strike was going to end soon. I know that there's a saying that Jesus is coming soon. Is that the kind of soon students across Nigeria are expecting?
Thank you. You see, that is exactly what we have said. This strike should not have lasted more than 2 weeks if there was seriousness on the part of the government. It's not more than 2 weeks. So the has come and will tell the public the strike will end soon. Did he give any empirical evidence to support what he's saying? Did he tell the public that, look, on the issue of agreement that we negotiated, that NIMI negotiated with ASUU, we are going to sign? On the issue of revitalization, we are going to raise X amount of money. On the issue of UTAS, we are going to adopt this, and what have you? And the issue of IPs, we are going to throw it away. We should have come, don't just come and speak politically to Nigeria, which is what we are saying. You come and speak politically to Nigeria, the strike will end soon. What are the empirical evidence? That is the problem. Nigeria should ask them. That the journalists should ask them, it's going to end soon. What are the evidence? This issue ASUU we are talking about, which one have you implemented? Which one do you intend to implement to show that you really have the interest of Nigerian children and Nigeria as a country at heart? But
right.
Just come and make a political statement. That's why this Minister of Labour, he liked political statement for whatever reasons.
Well, he's a politician. Let me stay with you for a moment, Prof, and try to see how we can even delve into some of these issues. I wonder just how complex and how complicated these issues are. Can they ever be addressed? Staying with you as well, or staying with a particular issue which has to do with the payments platform. It's been a subject of controversy and dispute between the union and the federal government. But Mr. Minister has said that your UTAS failed the integrity test 3 times.
You see, those are political statements again. Did they show evidence? When we met with the Chief of Staff Committee, the NIDA people came there and said the solution that UTAS failed the test, and that it was negative. But as it was good for us, we were there with documentation written by them that the program scored 99.3%. By the time we showed the document and gave copies to the Chief of Staff, they became quiet. Telling Nigeria, because everybody have interest in IPs. IPs that have ruined this country. Let me give you an example. Nigeria enrolled our Nigerian workers, civil service into IPs in 2008. 2008, they were enrolled into IPs. And if you recall the report of the head of service recently, that they found out 33 staff that were not properly enrolled and have been sacked. You read it between 10 and 2020 and now, which means that these IPs they are promoting, that said 2008 enroll 30,000 people illegally into IPs between 2010 and today. So if we are a country that is serious, a program that Nigeria spent $4.9 million to buy that, to pay for that program, and we are still paying on yearly basis. If that program can create such a distortion.
All right. While we try to, sort that out, even though it's not from our end, let's bring back up the position of the federal minister, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Labor
and Employment,
Dr. Chris Ngige, when he alluded to a meeting on Thursday between the federal government and the striking university lecturers.
We are calling up a meeting tomorrow so that everybody in government side can report if he or she has a problem, so we know how to address it. So it is not true that nobody is talking to us. By next period, we are going to again bring them together, and what government offers to them will be given to them, will be shown to them, for them to go back to their individual unions. And with that, we will solve it. That's how we solve the other one, so that we handle it holistically, not in pockets anymore.
About 477 billion was refunded to many states. Edo got 8 billion.
All All right, so that was the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ngige, there speaking. But of course, we're still with Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, the ASUU president, who has said there was no invitation from the federal government for that meeting. Prof, so it appears that there was no meeting indeed yesterday. Of course, since you and your team now being a critical part of, the stakeholders working out, ways to resolve this crisis. But if I didn't hear you correctly, kindly clarify. You said the strike was initially began on February the 14th for a warning strike of a month, and then you extended it to 2 months. And after that, did you say 4 months, 16 weeks, which means that this current phase of the strike is to end by August? If that is the correct position, tell us what both sides have been able to accomplish so far. You talked about eyepiece and the UTAS controversy. That doesn't appear to have been resolved. But what measurable progress has the talks, been able to reach so far?
Illegal staff into the system. And you are still promoting that something is wrong as a country. So that is it. Our own has, I would not be going to pay one kobo for ASUU UTAS. I thought as a country, we look was producing a system that
we might have, apparently the audio from his end, the network having serious issues, having to, contend with all the network problems. But there doesn't appear to be any hope in sight from what I can see. Oh, well, let's try again. Prof, are you there? Hello, Prof, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm hearing you, but
all right, kindly finish your thought on the eyepiece. I remember Kelly was asking that question. You haven't addressed mine, but finish your position on the eyepiece UTAS controversy.
Yes, I said UTAS have gone, this is the third time they are testing UTAS. And in all the past 2 they have tested, and the first one they tested is called 77% of technicalities and 94% on end users assessment. On the second one, when they did the technicalities, it scored 99.3%. And yet the people came out to say it didn't pass. Now we scored 99%, you say it failed. It's just politics. The people are interested in eyepiece, and they don't want any tear to come and put some spinal on what they are doing with eyepiece. They know what they are doing. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. Continue, please.
Good. Like I said, that between 2010 and today, eyepiece has enrolled 32,000 Nigerians into civil service who are illegal, who don't have certificates, as reported by head of service. And you are still using such program. Does it make sense anywhere that a program that took in more than 1/3 of the workers illegally to the system, including Minister of Labor?
All right, but you just said moments ago that so the strike continues for, I guess we are in the middle of the 14-week or 16-week extension, as you put it. So if this issue about where to pay salaries hasn't been sorted out yet, what progress have both sides now been able to achieve so far?
Like I said earlier, that on the government side, people are not interested in what is going on. Should it take you 1 year to test a program? You have to test one program 3 times. When for the first one, you show that it has passed. Meanwhile, the one you are using presently that is defrauding the country, you never tested. So it is. If the government is serious, they want to end the problem, they can resolve the issue of eyepiece within 1 week and UTAS within 1 week. If they are interested in this country, and our children who are home, they have their interest at heart, the negotiation we have finished with the Ministries Committee should be signed. Simple.
Yes. So Prof, yes, since we're staying with the issue of salaries, Dr. Ngige at some point had threatened lecturers in previous industrial actions by your union that the government will implement or enforce the no work, no pay rule. I wonder if that is in the picture at the moment.
My members have not been paid 3 months. 3. And we are not, to 4 months, I'm sorry. And we are not that. We are reached a stage where a member can take their life in their hand. We have not been paid for 4 months, hoping that once they stop our salary, it will weaken our member and will rush to come and beg him. We are not, if they want to hold it for 1 year, just go ahead and hold it. But we must change the Nigerian university system. This is the price we as academics are paying to ensure that our university system is changed from where we are today, where nobody wants to come from any other part of the world to Nigerian universities, while our children are rushing outside. This is what we are doing to do that. If maybe the next coming government can take example from this, and the 1.6 trillion we are paying as school fees to universities outside the country will be invested in our university. For the past 4 months, the 4th month, my members are not paid and they are not bothered.
Since February, can you confirm that for us? Since February?
No, since March. Since March.
Okay, since March.
Yes, by June. Salary normally paid the 25th and 26th of every month. So this is the 4th month.
All right.
The president was supposed to have intervened in this matter. And there was a report that some money was made available to some of the universities. Why are you giving the impression that the president has not, the federal government has not done anything? And you also accuse the president that they are not interested in resolving this matter. There's also a sense that you are the teachers of these students. You too are not interested in solving these matters because you have your students there. You're more interested in your own welfare than the welfare of the students. And that if the president is not patriotic, even you teachers are not patriotic either. You are not ready to make any sacrifice for the education in this country. That's why many people go to private schools. What do you say to that?
You see, what you are also shown that you don't have any idea about the problem we have in the system, and that's where we are. And you are not bothered. We have universities where they are using stuff as bossy burner, and you are so happy about it. I hope your children are in the public university. You are in a university where students start on window to take lectures, and you are happy. You see, this is what we are talking about. The president did not release any money for our salary. In 2009, the federal government implemented the minimum wage and consequential adjustment. All other people in public service were paid the consequential adjustment in 2019 and 2020. They were paid. The one for the university staff, academic and non-academic, were held up by the accountant general. You can check. So what they have released is Peters to pay that consequential adjustment. And I'm speaking to you, you can cross-check. I have not been paid that consequential adjustment. Nobody in my university and the 3 universities of agriculture have been paid that consequential adjustment. Also, 2, even university of Beg, go to Uniport. More than 600 lecturers have not been paid this money. This is held by the accountant general office. So please, we are fighting for Nigerian university system. All my children are home with me. I know yours is not. Please, when you are speaking to Nigeria, tell them the truth. The Nigerians know, do we still have public primary school? Do we still have public secondary schools? They have been killed. We will not allow them to kill the public universities. That's why we are struggling.
You can also,
whether people like you or not
you
like
can also argue otherwise. Well, public schools and primary schools and even at the secondary school levels, are still operational, of course, with the lingering challenges here and there. But yes, they still exist. Your point is well taken, Professor Osodeke. But then there's also a fact that some universities are considering reopening. These are, members of the ASUU body. What's ASUU doing about that? Of course, for those universities, their position for the lecturers and the administration is that the students have stayed at home longer than they should. Was it last year or even 2 years ago? We also had a prolonged period of stay for the students. You lecturers have not even been paid. You say your resolve is still strong. But looking at, these issues we're seeing here about some schools, exploring how they can reopen and make up for this long gaps in learning, what is your position?
See, ASUU, we don't run universities. Every university has a structure. They can reopen, but my members will not teach. And you can check any of them. They can reopen. But go to ECPOMA, where the governor is banning union illegally and what have you. Is anybody teaching? You can go there and check. You see, what's investigative journalism? Go and check. So it's not an issue. Two, you see, as a country, and we should ask ourselves a question. Ghana went on strike for 1 year, and the Ghana government took it as a challenge. And today we are rushing to Ghana. We are rushing to Ghana. Ghana give between 16 and 20% of the budget to education. Nigeria will give 5.4%. Does it mean we love the system? 5.4%. The South Africa give between 16 and 20%. During the era of the First Republic, Obasanjo was giving 30% of the budget to education. We are giving a paltry 5.4 to education, and that's where we are today.
Well, it's interesting, Prof. I mean, for the average Nigerian and students who are at home, one can only wonder, now that we are in a transitional phase, how all of this will play out. We're barely 7-8 months to the general elections. It does appear that the government may not be showing so much interest in some of these demands of yours. But how about the possible implications, the possible consequences? I mean, the saying, an idle man is the devil's workshop. What will happen to these students being at home for this very long stretch of time? It's a very big concern. And then the parents, of course, will have to make do with them being at home and doing absolutely nothing.
You see, that question should be asked to the government. It is ruling of government to fund educational system.
No, of course, we do intend to also engage the Minister of Labour subsequently on the breakfast show as well, to hear his own side of the story.
Are they doing it? Two, will you compare campaign policy to education in a serious country? Would that happen in a country that is serious? So my advice is for Nigerians, the parents today, because all those who lead this country have their children, they are not here. When they are having health problems, they run abroad. And what have you? My recommendation, and all Nigerians should not sit down and think, are these set of people who will be elected to power, are they doing well for us? If they are not, go and get your PVC. Simple.
Now, Shoyinka once said, and it has been repeated by a few other people, that they should just shut down the Nigerian universities and declare a state of emergency on Nigerian universities. Is that the way out? Do we need to just admit that there is rot? Because the government has often said that what you demand is probably too much for them, like they don't have enough money and so on. And then, you're right. You said the budget allocation is actually paltry compared to what we need in Nigerian university.
But is that if a government can raise 4 trillion naira to the so-called subsidization of fuel, 4 trillion, that we can build our refinery and export fuel as a country. Before 2019, we have 4 refineries, some working. But for 2019, when this problem of sorted at it today, almost 23 years now, have we been able to build one refinery? Is it a rocket science to build a refinery? And you say you are going to spend you have enough money to spend 4 trillion naira on fuel subsidy for what you refuse to do. But you cannot give 200 billion naira to education. Does that side we don't hope? With all this money, the allegation that somebody stole 170 billion naira, and so many you are hearing today, the allegations, if they are true, would you say that government does not have money? That's the question we should ask ourselves. Two, even if you don't have money, if Ghana gives 16% of the budget to education, South Africa 16, why can't Nigeria give 10 or 20 of the so-called lack of money? Why can't you give higher percentage to education, as is done all over the world? That we are now sending our children to Ghana. As from our calculation, we spend no less than 200 billion naira in Ghana University as school fees. Why are we doing that? Why can't we build it? Even going to Benin for studies, going to Benin. Our children are going to Benin. No Benin is coming to Nigeria as student. That is the question. Well, we are going to be giant of Africa. That is what ASUU is saying. When we fund a university and they are working, will be any hard currency for our country. And that's our struggle.
Professor Osadeke, we'll put you on hold, if you will. We take a break and then we'll have more engagements with you after this break. Please stay with us on TVC Breakfast. Thanks a lot for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. And we still have as our guest to talk about the lingering ASUU strike, president of the striking University Lecturers Union, ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osadeke. Thank you for staying with us. Questions and, some curious people have asked to know why the ASUU president, in the midst of this kind of impasse between the government and your body, why you have rejected offers to raise the needed funds to revitalize the university. I mean, one topical case is that of Brekete, who was said to be organizing a crowdfunding of 18 billion. What's your position? Did you hear me, Prof? Talking about, crowdfunding options, some group of Nigerians were said just a few weeks ago to have offered to raise about 18 billion naira to revitalize universities across the country. But we understand ASUU rejected this move. Tell us more on that.
Well, we did not reject what he is doing. What we are saying is that the procedure was not correct. As a union, we have our principles. If you want to raise funds using the name ASUU, because we saw the headline has ASUU as part of the name, and we say you cannot do that without consulting us. Two, we also advise that any individual or group can raise fund for whatever purpose. And if he is willing to, he can set up a foundation that will enable him use that fund. Because we are talking about the university system. When you go outside this country, there are also individuals outside who fund university, set up foundation, Big Great Foundation, what have you, to run the university, that he can go ahead and do that, but not using ASUU name to raise fund for the system, or raising as if raising fund for ASUU. What we are talking about is the fund to upgrade Nigerian university system, to have good laboratories, good lecture theaters, and a good hostels. And anybody can raise fund and say, I want to build a hostel for University of Ibadan. You can raise fund, you want to build a laboratory for University of Lagos. You want to raise fund, you want to build hostels in ABU or what have you. It's within your right. That's what we're talking about. But not using ASUU name to raise fund for the system. So that's the only differentiation, the area we have differences.
Well, it seems that
how the fund is raised.
It seems that what is going on is that you had an offer, rather than see how you could leverage it, you decided to use technicality to throw it away. It looks like somebody gave you food. You are saying that you didn't put it in the right place.
Well,
thank you very much. If you hear tomorrow that somebody raising funds somewhere in your own name without consulting you, will you clap for the person? Two, as a union, as a country, if you look at that event, they pour on the ground where we were already there 50 million naira cash in a cashless economy like our own. Is that right? We are a union of integrity and we keep our integrity. 50 million cash was raised on the floor.
hello, Prof.
We continue to disagree. We must follow the rule. It's not before you use our name. It is not to use somebody's name to raise funds without that person consent.
All right, Prof, maybe you could just quickly respond to this as well before we let you go, since I understand you have another engagement. I know that between 2009 and now, the last 11 years or thereabouts, the union has embarked on nothing less than 10 or 11 strikes, or at least. I'm wondering what kind of achievement or accomplishment can the body point at as per what the strikes or industrial actions have achieved over this period.
And also to add to that, it looks like you guys have no other strategy than strikes.
Thank you very much. You can, like I said, do investigative journalism. Enter any university today in this country, whether it's state or federal, and look at the buildings, whether lab or lecture that have been built in the past 10 years. 99% of them bear the name TED Fund. Go and check. TED Fund is a product of ASUU strike. If there is no TED Fund today, all our university would have collapsed as they wanted to collapse. Go to the university today and go around. You will see other set of buildings carry the name need assessment. They form about 5% of the project you have there in university today. That is the product of our strike. Today, our newer colleagues who are employed can be sponsored outside for training. That is the product of our strike. You can go around and project them. That is what we have done for this system as a union. No other group have done that for this country. Today, for the state, this state university who say open, their only source of capital project today in their university, in the state university around the country, you can go and check, is TED Fund and need assessment, the product of our struggle. And that is why today.
Professor Sodeke, all right. Well, you have been so gracious, during this interview. Professor Emmanuel Sodeke, if you can hear me, but then we've run out of time. We thank you very much for all your contributions regarding this issue of ASUU strike and where your body stands. Thanks again, Professor.